Welcome back to Steffi Fan's channel. Today we will learn about the issue of Thomas Forrester's complicated love life and the brewing romantic tensions that could shake up Forrester Creations in ways nobody saw coming. The single life of Thomas Forrester. Thomas Forrester finds himself at a fascinating crossroads in his personal life on The Bold and the Beautiful. After years of tumultuous relationships, broken hearts, and unrequited obsessions, the talented designer is officially back on the market and seemingly open to new romantic possibilities. However, there's one glaring problem that's making his search for love incredibly complicated. The dating pool at Forrester Creations has essentially dried up to the point of being nearly non-existent. The reality of working in a family-run fashion empire means that nearly everyone Thomas encounters on a daily basis shares his DNA in some capacity. Between his immediate family members, extended relatives, and the complicated web of relationships that have developed over decades of soap opera drama, Thomas is finding himself in an unprecedented romantic drought. It's a peculiar situation that even the most seasoned soap opera viewers might find amusing, considering how incestuous the relationships on daytime television can become over time. The Hope Logan situation revisited. When Thomas made his highly anticipated return to Hope for the Future, the fashion line that has been at the center of so much drama, speculation ran wild among fans and characters alike. Everyone naturally assumed that Thomas was making yet another play for Hope Logan, the woman who has occupied his thoughts and heart for what feels like an eternity. Their history is complicated, messy, and filled with enough drama to fill several seasons of programming. However, Thomas has been adamant and surprisingly convincing in his declarations that those feelings are firmly in the past. The designer has repeatedly insisted that he's completely over Hope, and for once in his tumultuous romantic history, he might actually be telling the truth. His demeanor has changed, his focus has shifted, and there's a genuine sense that Thomas Forrester has finally turned a page in his life story. If this transformation is authentic and not just another elaborate scheme, then the inevitable question arises: who will be the next woman to capture his attention and heart? Limited options at Forrester Creations. The current landscape at Forrester Creations presents Thomas with an almost comical lack of viable romantic options. When you start eliminating family members, ex-girlfriends with too much baggage, and women already in committed relationships, the list becomes remarkably short. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a genuine obstacle that could force Thomas to look outside his usual circles for companionship. According to the latest Bold and the Beautiful spoilers that have been circulating, someone within the walls of Forrester Creations will soon catch Thomas's discerning eye. The question that has everyone talking is simply, who could it be? The timing is particularly interesting because Thomas seems more emotionally available and mature than he's been in years, which could make this potential romance more stable and less destructive than his previous entanglements. Enter Daphne Rose. In what could be the most controversial development yet, the only viable option that isn't related to Thomas Forrester by blood or marriage appears to be Daphne Rose Carter Walton's current fiancé. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the Forrester Creations gossip mill and has fans speculating about the potential drama that could unfold. Daphne represents uncharted territory for Thomas, a fresh face without years of complicated history weighing down any potential relationship. The mysterious Daphne Rose has been something of an enigma since she appeared on the canvas. Her past remains shrouded in secrecy, and viewers have been given only the most basic information about who she is and where she came from. What we do know about her character, however, is quite revealing about her moral compass and priorities. Daphne demonstrated a willingness to actively sabotage Carter's relationship with Hope Logan in exchange for financial compensation, which raises serious questions about her integrity and loyalty. This particular character trait becomes especially relevant when considering her potential susceptibility to Thomas Forrester's charms. If Daphne was willing to betray Carter once for money, what might she be willing to do if presented with what she perceives as a better option? The woman has already shown that her allegiances can be bought or swayed under the right circumstances. Carter Walton's appeal. Carter Walton is undeniably one of the most eligible bachelors in the soap opera universe. He's handsome, successful, intelligent, and possesses a level of emotional maturity that's rare in the world of daytime television. His career at Forrester Creations has spanned years, during which he's climbed the corporate ladder and established himself as an invaluable asset to the company. With his position as COO and his deep understanding of both the business and legal aspects of the fashion industry, Carter's financial situation is undoubtedly impressive. Any woman would be fortunate to have Carter as a partner, and Daphne seemed to recognize this when she accepted his proposal. He offers stability, security, and genuine affection, qualities that should be enough to satisfy most people looking for a long-term commitment. But the question lingering in the air is whether Daphne truly appreciates what she has, or if she sees Carter as simply another stepping stone to something she perceives as better. The Thomas Forrester factor. Thomas Forrester brings an entirely different set of attributes to the table. As a Forrester by birth, he carries the weight and prestige of one of the fashion industry's most powerful dynasties. His creative talent is undeniable, his designs have shaped the company's success, and he stands to inherit a significant portion of the Forrester empire. From a purely materialistic standpoint, Thomas might indeed be considered an even bigger catch than Carter, especially for someone like Daphne, who has already demonstrated that financial considerations weigh heavily in her decision-making process. Beyond the financial aspects, Thomas possesses an intensity and passion that some women find irresistible. He's driven, focused, and when he sets his sights on something or someone, he pursues it with single-minded determination. This could be incredibly appealing to Daphne, or it could be the very thing that drives her away, depending on what she's truly looking for in a relationship. The rivalry between Thomas and Carter. The tension between Thomas Forrester and Carter Walton has already reached a boiling point over Hope Logan, creating a foundation of animosity that could easily explode into something much bigger. These two men have already established themselves as rivals, and their conflict over Hope demonstrated that neither is willing to back down when they want something. This existing friction creates the perfect storm for additional drama, especially if Thomas decides to pursue Carter's fiancée. There's a distinct possibility that Thomas could develop an interest in Daphne Rose purely out of spite and a desire to prove his dominance over Carter. The Forrester Prince, as he's sometimes called, has never been one to shy away from competition, and the opportunity to wound Carter's pride while simultaneously finding himself a new romantic partner might be too tempting to resist. This would be consistent with Thomas's history of making questionable decisions when his ego is involved. The wedding plans in jeopardy. Carter and Daphne are currently deep in the throes of wedding planning, rushing toward the altar with an urgency that seems almost suspicious to careful observers. Carter appears desperate to finally achieve the married life he's been craving for so long. Having been left at the altar and heartbroken multiple times throughout his tenure on the show, this desperation could be clouding his judgment, preventing him from seeing potential red flags in his relationship with Daphne. However, all of these carefully laid plans could come crashing down if Thomas manages to infiltrate Daphne's orbit and plant seeds of doubt about her future with Carter. The timing couldn't be worse for the couple, as they're at their most vulnerable point, committed enough to be planning a wedding but not yet legally bound to each other. This creates the perfect opportunity for an interloper to drive a wedge between them. Daphne's loyalty under question. The central question that has fans debating is whether Daphne possesses any real loyalty to Carter Walton. Her past actions suggest that her commitment can be swayed by the right incentives, whether financial or otherwise. If Thomas Forrester were to show genuine interest in her, would she have the strength of character to remain faithful to her fiancé? Or would she see this as an opportunity to upgrade her situation? The answer to this question could define Daphne's character for the remainder of her time on the show. If she proves loyal to Carter despite temptation from Thomas, she could redeem herself from her earlier betrayal and establish herself as a woman of integrity. However, if she abandons Carter for Thomas, it would confirm everyone's worst suspicions about her character and motivations. Either outcome promises to deliver the kind of drama that keeps soap opera fans coming back day after day. Alternative romantic possibilities. If neither Daphne Rose nor Hope Logan ends up being Thomas's next romantic partner, and the question becomes even more intriguing, who else could possibly fill that role? The soap could introduce an entirely new character, specifically to serve as Thomas's love interest, which would be the cleanest solution but perhaps the least dramatically satisfying for longtime viewers who enjoy seeing established characters interact in new ways. There's also the possibility that Thomas might look outside Forrester Creations entirely, perhaps pursuing someone from a competing fashion house or from a completely different world altogether. This could open up new storylines and introduce fresh dynamics to the show. Alternatively, the writers might bring back a character from Thomas's past, someone who knew him before all the Hope drama, and could offer him a genuine chance at a healthy, stable relationship. The coming weeks promise to reveal exactly which direction the writers have chosen for Thomas Forrester's romantic future. And regardless of who ends up being the object of his affection, one thing is certain: drama will follow. The bold and the beautiful thrives on these complicated romantic entanglements, and Thomas's search for love in a limited dating pool is exactly the kind of storyline that keeps fans engaged and speculating about what's coming next.